This is CBS Sports Radio's Outside the Cage. We're under the Ray Longo hood, Long Island MMA, Longo MMA on Long Island, my hometown. You saw me out in Denver. I don't know why it took me so long to get out here. Being joined by ALJAMAIN STERLING. Sasaki's waving goodbye. Aljo put the beating on him and everybody else earlier. Take us through, is this a normal training day for you? Because, man, it was awesome seeing you transition from being in the zone, being a fighter, to being a teacher at the same time. Is this a normal Thursday night in the Longo MMA scene?
Yeah, for me it is. A lot of the times I teach the Mondays and Wednesdays MMA classes. Yeah, it's a relatively new class that we just started implementing just to help the younger fighters get up to speed with all the other pro guys. And, you know, Longo's is only one person, Mancera's only one person, so there's only so much time in the day that these guys can dedicate to help give guys one-on-one time. So it's up to us, those younger fighters coming up who are high profile, that can help give back some of the knowledge that those guys gave to us back to these guys.
Is that something that Ray or Matt approached you with, being a teacher, or did you approach them like, guys, maybe if I'm more boisterous, I could be a teacher? How'd you get into that?
I actually coach wrestling right now still, Baldwin High School.
What schools?
What's that?
What schools?
Baldwin High School, wrestling varsity. Yeah, so been doing that for 6 years now. And coaching has always been something I did. I got my phys ed degree, so I learned how to teach kids, and I work with a lot of kids just coming up through the high school and college ranks. I've been teaching for a long time now. Just now I could do it at a more professional level and actually understanding how to properly teach people. And this is something I figured I was like, man, you know what, to help lighten the load for you guys, I think it would be better for me because I can work on the stuff that I want to work on. Because, you know, sometimes the teacher's showing something and you want to work on something else. And I think it's good. So it gives me an opportunity to take some stuff from them to teach for that lesson for the day, or I can add in my own stuff and mix it up or do a little bit of both.
I appreciate that they gave you that opportunity, man. And is that Weidman's High School?
It's Weidman's High School, the rival. Well, not really rivals, but I break his balls a lot. I tell him that Unidale is always going to be number one. But now that I'm in Baldwin's number one.
So fantastic. 6 years going strong. You know, you're obviously would be one of the younger coaches, obviously nothing against Matt or Ray, but they're obviously a little older. They've seen more MMA. But now you're in the YouTube age, and you pulled off an amazing type of YouTube move earlier than Zabit did at UFC 228. Is that something that you learned on your own, or are you guys just rolling around, messing around? What would you call that exactly? The leg bar from the back thing?
It was supposed to be more of a hamstring stretch, kind of like the way Zabit did it, which is I think it's called the Soyuev stretch. But that variation I did where it just completely attacks the knee and blows that out, I call it the funk strudel, because after you get up, your legs are like noodles. They're never going to be the same.
Where'd you learn that?
That one was kind of just on the fly. That was the first time I hit it like that. You know, good thing I don't hit it like that in training, because I probably run out of training partners.
Hell yeah, man. It looked great. And you've had a good year. It sucked what happened with Marlon earlier, but now all the bantamweights are starting to get matched up. Lineker, Cruz, Sunsao, Dillashaw, Cejudo, he might be a bantamweight sooner or later. Is there somebody on the horizon you want? I know Rivera, a local guy in Jersey, is looking for somebody.
Jimmie Rivera would be a nice opponent. Cody Garbrandt would be a nice opponent as well. I think if I can beat one of those guys, I think it puts me right there next in line, if not in a number one contender fight. So I'm looking for the big matchups. I already fought backwards twice. You know, I had a big upset, so I understood them giving me two lower-ranked opponents. That's fine. I did my job. I dispatched them both, did what I had to do, and I'm looking forward now to climbing those ranks one more time.
And you bring a ferocity into the cage it's connected with a lot of fighters. You know, we see Weidman versus Silva. A lot of people, I hope they don't sleep on Long Island MMA, because everybody looks at Brazil, they look at maybe Denver, they look at the Southern kids, but it's like, in all reality, Long Island are tough guys. Where do you see that? Is Long Island MMA being slept on? I know Al's got a big fight next week, but do you appreciate where you come from? And do people respect you guys from the outside? Because Merab said he came from Georgia, and he knew this is the spot he wanted to be. And it's fantastic, man. The Long Island mentality and ferocity, it's unmatched.
Yeah, for sure. I always say there's something in the water. I call us we're the Long Island Stud Muffins. But, no, seriously, man, we all care about each other. It's a family, tight-knit team. I think we all sit there. We pretty much go to each other's fights for the most part. And whenever we can make it, we make it. We get it there. If we could be an extra training partner to lend a hand to help the guys with the weight cut, we're there. So I think that's the difference between us, man. You know, you don't see a whole lot of gyms that are like that. There's a lot of imported guys coming from all over, from other states and things like that. We're homegrown talent. You can't beat that, you know. So I think it's a different type of bond between us. But man, Long Island ain't nothing to play with. I tell you that. We got a lot of top 10 guys in this gym. We got a couple world champions in one spot. People look at us from the outside and they think Long Island's like this big rich area. You know, not everyone's.
Not just the Hamptons.
Yeah, it's not just the Hamptons, man. There's some rough, tough areas out there. You know, I grew up in one of those towns and hopping around a little bit. But you know, I always say my hometown is what helped shape me into who I am.
I think we just picked up on a Longo sneeze in the background. But staying with your hometown, I just saw John Jones, the fantastic John Jones, join Sway in the morning. And they asked him, said, John, you're a man of color. Was it hard? Your two brothers are in the NFL. Was it hard not picking up a basketball or football, not playing one of those sports, and putting on a singlet? And I'm going to ask you the same question. Did you grow up with a lot of people that were playing other sports, and why did you choose wrestling? I'm assuming you chose wrestling from a young age.
I actually didn't start wrestling until I was in 10th grade, which is insane. I had hoop dreams of being a ball player, NBA, Michael Jordan. The doctor used to tell me when I was a little kid, elementary school, oh, your son's going to be really tall. They could tell by when I started hitting puberty a little bit, the Oscar Slaughters in my knee, and that never happened. My coach, I tried out for the basketball team, made the first day of tryouts, and then the wrestling coach came over to me after I got cut because they only do 1 day of cuts, and then the second day, if you don't make it, then you're done. And he told me, he was like, and this is my 10th grade year. He said, you're never going to be nothing taller than 5'5". Just come out for the wrestling team. If you don't like it, then you can leave. Came down, fell in love with the sport, and I haven't looked back since.
Nice. Was it an easy transition at that point? Were you one of the stubborn wrestlers who didn't want to go to his back? Or, I mean, obviously you're very open-minded. The fact that you're teaching now, take us through that transition from wrestling to now an amazing mixed martial arts. Honestly, man, I'm proud I'm talking to you.
I don't think it was really too hard for me. My style of wrestling was traditionally on the mat. So I thrived with the top and bottom positions. Bottom I would always create scrambles and get out and do all these weird, crazy things. And next you know, the guys would be flipped over on their back and I'm pinning them. Or on top, I'd put the hammer on them. You know, I throw the legs in and I try to rip their shoulders off their bodies. And it's kind of translated really well into jiu-jitsu. If you see my fights, a lot of the times I take the guys' backs and throwing the hooks. I'm looking for the chokes right away. And I think that's really helped a large part in my game. I was never really good on the feet. Now I'm so much better because I actually understand the sport a lot more and how to set up attacks. But coming up, I just shied away from that. And I think it's kind of see the same thing with my MMA skills growing. You know, I was predominantly a grappler, and then now I've gotten better and more comfortable on the feet, where now I'm starting to really piece guys up a bit on the feet as well.
Well, it's fantastic. I mean, you putting it together is one of the reasons why I'm here, and you got to deal with idiots, beanies, asking you dumb questions. But how have you dealt with the questions, the growing in the sport, and now getting to where you are and affording a house and having Marab do all the work for you, and you paying him nothing, and then you guys maybe just buy him a pizza? How's it been like growing, like getting fame, like local fame at least, and national fame and international fame if you think about it?
Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's different, man. You know, I never thought a little kid from Roosevelt/Uniondale would ever be in a position like this. You know, I grew up in the hood, and that's a little bit different. You know, the only time I saw myself getting out of here would have been, or in this position would have been, in the NBA or the NFL, something like that. And it's crazy that wrestling took me to college, got me a college degree, even though I was one of probably the worst troublemaking kids, not in terms of getting like suspended and stuff like that, but troublemaking. Like, I was a kid who was a wise ass in class and making comments under his breath while the teacher was talking, cutting class. You know, I did all that dumb stuff. Probably graduated with about a 70 average, and I pulled it up my senior year. So, you know, I struggled a little bit. So it's kind of interesting to see where you can become if you actually focus and put your mind to something. And I offered Marab money. He didn't want to take it. Sidebar.
Marab, you son of a bitch. He's a nice guy. But, again, I appreciate the time. I know we're disturbing your post-workout right now. What's next for you? I'm
hoping to fight maybe January or February now. I was hoping for March, but I was a little dealing with a couple injuries. Now I'm all healed up. I think for the most part it needs to be tweaked again, but for the most part I'm training again. So I think I'm all healed up, ready to go. Start a training camp, and we're just gonna see who the opponent is that's gonna sign on that dotted line. Because once you sign on that dotted line, it becomes real, and you made a big mistake.
Fantastic. I mean, I don't know if we could get you on that Brooklyn card coming up, but that'd be fantastic. And what's next for your teammate coming up? I mean, how do you see that fight going? Because Kevin Lee's a different guy than Al saw in his UFC debut, and he's a beast now. He's put on a ton of muscle mass. Al's coming off a ton of confidence with the Khabib fight. How do you see that fight going?
It's a tough fight, you know. I think both fighters have their work cut out for them. Al knows that second round he kind of gave it away to Kevin. You know, he started off strong really in that first round, dropped him with a jab. It was, you know, and pieced him up a bit in that first round and even in the third. And he was touching him up in the second before he got taken down. But I think Al really, like just breaking down the tape from what we see, the main difference is Kevin's just a lot bigger and is a little more confident in terms of walking forward. But his striking is still, in my opinion, I don't want to say mediocre, but it's not like Al. Al's on a different level when it comes to the boxing. Al's on a different level when it comes to the kickboxing. Kevin's just a powerful athlete, powerful wrestler. If he gets you down, he's going to try to impose his will. But as we've seen in the Khabib fight, Al has no quit. If you take him down, he's going to get right back up, and he's not going to concede defeat to nobody. So I'm looking forward to this one. I think this one's going to really showcase his skills once again and show everyone, especially a 5-round fight. Kevin tends to get tired after about that halfway point in that second round. So Tony Ferguson, even the Barboza fight, he starts to push his punches instead of popping them. You can't do that against a dangerous fighter like Al. Al touches you one time, usually he puts guys down on their ass. So I'm really excited for this one. This is one people are not going to want to miss, and it's the last fight on UFC Fox. Great way to end it.
You guys can see that next week, UFC on Fox 31. It's going to be fantastic. Like Al said, the last broadcast. Al, thank you so much for the time. Good luck with the house. And is that your girl on social media that I'm seeing with you?
Yes, she is.
She's with you because your good looks, money, or you're fighting? Come on, tell us.
I'm going to say a little bit of everything.
Appreciate it, brother. Good luck in your next fight, and let me know when you have a beer pong party.
Thank you.